You got any nose boogers? As opposed to other kinds of boogers. My nostril really that big? It's like the size of my eyeball. Goodness gracious. Hello, you beautiful people. David here, or Sin City Yeti, or just Yeti, whichever you prefer. And today I'm going to do something a little different. This is one of my original favorite crafts. Like, I'm talking little David, little David loved doing this. So, yeah, I guess I should give you a hint. When I was really little, I saw a commercial that I absolutely loved and I wanted to get so bad, but I was a boy, so I never got it. It's fantastic flowers made by me. So if you're old like me, then you might recognize that jingle. But yes, oh my God, I wanted fantastic flowers so bad when I was a kid, but I was never given the machine. And yeah, it was too expensive for me to save up because I have ADHD and I would be given like a couple dollars a week for chores and I couldn't save that. I wanted ice cream from the ice cream truck. So, oh well. So the last time I made flowers, made flowers, was 10 years ago. And it was for my husband and I's first anniversary when we started dating. So like 1 year after our first date, I made him some paper flowers. And I loved doing them all the time. They're just a little time consuming and I never made them again since. The first time I ever made them, I would have been 8 years old, was the first time that I attempted making paper flowers. And then it's just kind of evolved since then. But 10 years ago, that was the last time I made paper flowers, 10 years ago. And for those of you watching this on time, yesterday would have been my husband and I's anniversary, or September 20th. That was the day of our first date. And what's a better excuse of making flowers than for an anniversary? And they're not gonna die. So yeah, I guess it's time for me to show you these paper flowers because I loved making them and I think you might like them, but we'll see. Anyways, enough of my face. Let's go see what I create. And here we are. Got a nice little setup showing off my paper flowers I made 10 years ago. They're holding up okay. We have our mask in it. It was from one of Eric Knight's first Halloween costumes. He used it for his. Got some paper, the Mod Podge, my cutting board, and I think we're ready to go. So, 10 years ago, it has been 10 years since I last made flowers, and if you can see, they're still looking a little nice, but they're kind of falling apart, and 10 years is a long time for some paper flowers to last, so I figure it's time for me to make some new ones, and, our anniversary of our first date, I think, is a good excuse to make some, so yeah, why not? So what I'm gonna start with is I'm just gonna be grabbing different color papers to start with the stems of the different flowers that I'm going to be using. So I pick out this brown color because the first stem I'm gonna use is gonna be kind of like this woody looking stem. And as you can see, it's nothing like super intricate. I'm literally just painting Mod Podge or glue onto the paper and then rolling it up into straws. And then while it's still a little wet so it can dry in the curved state, I kind of bend it and manipulate the stem a little bit. I like using Mod Podge over glue because it's gonna help. I think it adds more strength to the stem as it's sitting in the flower vase. You want them to last. So I like to use Mod Podge. So I'm just gonna be making a whole bunch of different colored stems. I'm not 100% set on what kinds of flowers I'm going to be using yet. I'm just kind of going off of vibes and what I'm feeling in the moment. So I'm just making a bunch of different stems, all different colors. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to use all the stems. I actually made too many, but I'd rather have too many than not enough. And I just kind of make the flowers as I go, or just what's feeling right in the moment. I would rather have more stems than not enough. And that's kind of what happened here. I just made a whole bunch of stems and I was like, yeah, I might use these, I might not, but at least I'll have them, and maybe it will be an excuse to make some more in the future. There's not going to be a whole lot of explaining with this video, just because I think this is like a more simpler project. Like, this is a craft I used to do when I was 8 years old. That's when it started. Like, it is a pretty simple craft. It's just kind of like, you know, over time, things are going to get a little bit better with some skill, with some imagination, your creativity kind of thing. That's all that's going on here. And it's literally like just cutting paper into the shape you want, like kind of bending it to be what you want it to be, or Mod Podging it together what you want it to be. You just kind of let your imagination go wild. I like to use a lot of different flowers for inspiration, and yeah. That's about it with this. I will probably still explain some stuff as I'm going along, just like for different kinds of flowers and how I'm achieving different looks. But I figure since this is a special kind of video, like I could share some like maybe some personal stuff so you guys can get to know me a little bit better.
Finally get to know each other.
Anyway, and I'm just kind of like sorting the stems out, trying to figure out like how many of which do I have, like what kind of flowers, what color flowers do I want to go with, and yeah, I was just kind of like sorting them out. And I was kind of wanting to do like a rainbow thing, so I do go like with a rainbow theme, and every color is represented by the end, some more so than others, but it still looks nice. And we're starting with the big old leaves. I'm going to be cutting these giant leaf shapes, and I want them to have some visual interest, so I'm cutting like the base leaf is going to be the solid red, and then I'm just cutting up different strips and gluing them in to kind of like create the interest leaves have kind of thing. Just make them look kind of cool. See, like, look at this. It's all cool.
I think it looks cool.
So anyway, going back to my original story of why I started making these when I was 8. So when I was 8 years old, like I was always into drawing flowers, making flowers kinds of thing. And I really, really loved this. There was, oh my gosh, what was it called? A tisket, a tasket, a flower making basket. Oh my gosh, I'm definitely gonna have to insert that.
A tisket, a tasket, a flower making basket. Works like magic, smells so nice, you'll see it's just fantastic.
That's an old commercial. Anyways, I did used to play with this. It wasn't mine, this machine. I don't remember who I had it from, but I would use this stupid machine all the time to make all the flowers out of Play-Doh.
Fill the flower bud with your favorite colors, snap it into the basket, pull down the handle, and presto, wonderful smelling flowers.
But it was eating up so much Play-Doh because I didn't want to mix the colors back together, because then the flowers would be ruined. And like eventually you're just gonna get brown Play-Doh, and brown flowers are not pretty. I'm sure there are some pretty brown flowers out there. But in my mind right now, like with this poop brown color that I'm thinking of Play-Doh, no, it's not cute. It's not pretty. I never wanted to do that. So I was always going through freaking Play-Doh, even though like I think the thing came with special Play-Doh. I don't think it was Play-Doh. If I remember correctly, I think it smelled.
Tycho's flower making basket comes with super dough, so you can make beautiful smelling flowers.
Or it was the other one that really made me start going into paper flowers specifically. Then when I saw this commercial, I wanted it so bad. The fantastic flowers. Fantastic flowers made by me.
Fantastic flowers made by me.
What are you doing? Making a beautiful bouquet of flowers. How? With my fantastic flowers flower making set.
That thing has lived in my head rent-free for over 30 years now. Goodness, that will never leave my brain. It's there forever. But I wanted this so bad. So bad. And did I get it? No, I did not get it. I was a boy. I wasn't allowed to have things like that. Yeah, what I got instead of fantastic flowers was the Creepy Crawlies machine. Creepy Crawlies. Was it Crawlies or Crawlers?
Creepy crawlers.
They're squirmy and wormy and purple and green, the grossest little creatures that you've ever seen.
Creepy crawlers.
The Creepy Crawlers machine, like there was this like goop you would stick into like this metal mold, and then it was like an easy bake oven for boys.
Build a monster mold with the colored plastic goop and make a creepy crawler from a yucky monster soup.
And it would basically solidify the plastic. It was like resin, but it was like a plastic stuff, and they would be a little tacky so you could stick them on windows and stuff. That's what I got instead of fantastic flowers. I still used the Creepy Crawler machine. Like, it was making stuff. I thought it was fun. Of course I was gonna make stuff with it, but it was not what I wanted. I wanted fantastic flowers.
So many colors. They so pretty.
Fantastic flowers made by me.
And I figured since like it was just paper anyways, it was literally like they had these dies that you would put the paper into, and then you would just smash it and it would cut the shape out of the paper, and you were just kind of putting the flowers together. So I kind of like, from watching the commercial, reverse engineered a way to make paper flowers myself, and I just started making them. So of course my first ones when I was really little were really simple. I don't have any pictures of those. Those are long gone. I have no idea what happened to them. But anyways, like ever since then, I was always making flowers. I would make them for my mom. I would make them for teachers. I would make them for friends. I would put them on like gifts. When I was giving gifts to friends, I would make a paper flower or something to go on the gift top. And yeah, like I really got into making paper flowers. They became a regular thing I made up until about 10 years ago. And that was like shortly after I had moved from Las Vegas to Reno. I just didn't have all my supplies out. I wasn't in like a situation where I could really like sprawl out. We were in a small space. I was going to school full time. I was a double full-time student, so I was doing like 24 credits per semester. And yeah, I was like gung-ho. I would get to school 7 a.m. and I would get out of school at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. some nights. And this was for 3 years straight. Got 3 degrees, but because of that, like I just didn't have the time to make paper flowers, and it kind of fell to the wayside. And the last time I made them was for my husband and I's first anniversary of when we went on our first date. And that was back in 2015, September 20th, 2015. It's been exactly 10 years and I wanted to make some new ones. The other ones are kind of crusty a little bit. It just kind of happens. I realized the last batch of flowers that I made, it's really hard to dust and clean paper flowers. They're not meant to last that long, and 10 years is a really long time. So yeah, it's time for some new ones. And as you can see, like I'm getting a whole bunch. I got leaves put onto the stems, like just thinking about what kind of flowers I'm gonna start adding now. Like I was thinking some daffodils.
There are dusty daffodils on the hillside.
Potentially some daisies, which those are the ones that don't really make it, and hyacinths. And they're not like exact perfect replicas of these flowers. They're just kind of inspired from taking the same kinds of shapes. And yeah, like it's already kind of looking like a bouquet, and I really like this. So I'm separating all the stems back out from like ones that I've completed from the ones that are completely done. So like the leaves are done. I'm not adding anything else to them. They're just going to be for decoration. Got the reds and the greens and putting it all together. I want to make it look really nice and pretty. It's gonna be like going with my husband, and you know, it's gonna sit on his shelf at work and just make this space a little more pretty. So I guess like I could go into how we met a little bit. So we did meet at college about 10 years ago. I don't know how we made time for each other. Like now I think back to it and I'm just like, my bones hurt. I'm tired. I want to go to bed.
So tired. So tired.
I was a double full-time student, and I was dating, and I was working. I have no idea how I fit all of that into a single day over and over and over, but I did it. So our first date was different.
I'm freaky. You're different.
It wasn't different for us, and it may not be different if you're in the Alphabet Mafia, but for those outside the Alphabet Mafia, like, it was Halloween. And just like in Mean Girls, Halloween is a time for the gays to just dress as sluts.
Halloween is the one night a year when a girl can dress like a total slut and no other girls can say anything about it.
And I did that. I had a bunch of leathers. If you know anything about the gay scene, like that was my Halloween costume. It was just dressing up to dress up. I just told people I was Mr. Slave.
Look at that, Mr. Slave.
Yeah, anyways, that may have been a little bit more of me than you ever wanted to see, but I was so young. So of course, like, I won over Eric, like, on this date, because of course I was dressed like a slut. We went to a haunted house for our first date. That was a lot of fun. It was kind of like a double date situation. Okay, I'm gonna have to interrupt because, like, this is probably my favorite part with the orchid. So with the orchid, I wanted to have buds at the bottom of them, and I wasn't quite sure how I was gonna make these buds. Flower buds isn't something I've really made a lot of. I just figured I'm gonna give this a try. And what I ended up doing was cutting out petal shapes, and I was thinking I would glue them together in like a cone shape. So I literally sat here and made 5 of these like starbursts with these petal shapes together. And I was thinking I would just glue it closed, and that would be the flower bud. In my head, it worked out perfectly because like that's the way it works in the wild when the flower bud is the petals and they're those shapes and then they open up. And I'm thinking like, yeah, that would work. Like if the shape works in nature, it should work on this. It did not. This was a very frustrating part because I struggled. This was like a 2-hour period of me struggling with these like star shapes of what I was going to do and trying to get them to work. And everything I was trying just was not working. They were falling apart. They weren't staying closed, but this is where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out. And so I experimented off camera and I got all these stars and I got this one, like, yeah, they're not gonna work. They're gonna just throw them away. And so like, these are my practice trial runs. So I tried just rolling. Nope, not gonna work. I tried a different shape with rolling and nope, that's not gonna work either. And then I was thinking like this weird folding technique and no, it's not gonna work. And that little bud's just not gonna work either. And then I did this technique where I crossed rolling with the petal shapes and I liked the look of it. I felt like this works. Yes, I can work with this. And so yeah, that's what I ended up doing to go with the orchid. So now where was I again? Oh yeah, I thought Eric was an interesting guy and I wanted to go on another date with him and he wanted to go on another date with me. He was also going to school. He was going for metallurgy, which is chemistry. I was going for my general education because I still didn't quite know what I wanted to go into, thinking maybe astronomy because I really love science. And I did end up getting applied associates of science degree in astronomy. I haven't done anything with it. Ended up also getting social work, did do some stuff with that, and my general education. In that time, like I did take some art classes and stuff, so like I could still do some art, but it was nothing like serious at the time. I just wasn't taking myself serious. I had shown some of the professors at college some of my prior work. All of them basically told me it's not really any good, but thanks for showing me kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that hurt. And I didn't think I was ever going to really do anything with my art because I was basically told by the art professors who were doing it professionally, doing art as a career. I was basically told by them, like, it wasn't really anything good. It wasn't anything special. So I didn't think I was going to do anything with it. Here I am now making art on YouTube and going off on tangents.
This might be a tangent, right?
What was I talking about? Oh, Eric and I and how we met in our first date and all that. So anyways, going back to that, our first date went pretty well. And a year later after that, we were living together. We were in our first apartment together. And I really thought like, this is something that feels different. This is something that feels like it could last a lot longer. This isn't just a hookup, like we're living together now. And I wanted to celebrate that first anniversary. So I made him some paper flowers. And yeah, they've just traveled with us ever since. But over the years, like they've gotten a little beaten up. They're starting to degrade and, you know, there's parts that are falling apart. I could probably take some time to fix them up, but they just, a lot of charm of them I feel is lost. And I don't want to change them too much because like that was my old work. I don't really want to change up or fix my old work. I want it to live its life naturally, the way that it is kind of thing.
Maybe, you know, let nature take its course, right?
I just wanted to make some new ones. And yeah, that's where these came in. And I figure I could take some chances this time. Let's try some new stuff. Let's take some risks, stuff I haven't done before. And that's where like these orchids came into play. I wanted something different. It was fun. He has an orchid plant. It hasn't bloomed in a while, but it seems to still be healthy. I think like he needs to do some pruning to kind of like encourage it to blossom again. But in the meantime, like it's just one of his favorite plants. He's had it forever. And so like that's where this orchid came in. This one's not going to die. He doesn't have to worry about it blooming again. This is where I kind of had the idea after I did the pink orchids. I was like, I wonder if I could do like a rainbow of flowers. And so I thought like, let's do that. Let's do like this rainbow of flowers. And so of course I went with like a brighter red next, but I kind of wish I would have done a different color because I had the bright red like leaves in the background. Kind of wish I would have gone with like maybe a magenta. I think that would have been pretty and fit the rainbow theme a little bit better, but this is what I get for not planning things. This is why you need to plan things out, because sometimes planning things out helps you in the long run. You get a better idea of what you're gonna do instead of just like going right into it like I did here. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And I'm still happy with it as much as I would have liked to change the color of the flowers, but meh, no point in crying over spilt milk. This is why I didn't feel like I could really explain this too much. It's just rolling paper, wrapping it around itself, gluing it down, cutting out petal shapes, rolling them into like a specific thing, flattening them, and you're kind of like bending them the way that you want them to bend. It's just a lot of simple processes, but applying them in a more complex manner, I think.
What? What are you talking about?
Now these, here's my first one where I'm like, I don't think I need to do 2 stems. No, I don't need to do 2 stems. I can just do 1. And this is like another really big flower. So this is kind of like, I want to say they're called amaranths. I'm not sure that's the actual name of them. Amaryllis. Amaranths. I don't know why I was calling them amaranths. They're amaryllis. All right. So the next flowers I'm making are based off of amaryllis and stargazer lilies. I know my husband likes the shape of the flowers. He thinks they're really pretty. So I was like, let's kind of do these. But these flowers like have multiples on a single stem. So that was kind of what I was trying to do with this. I thought like I could do like a branching of 3s, and I do really like the way it looks in the bouquet. It was just a little hard and complicated to make. So like what I do is like I cut out the 6 petals, they're bigger petals. I glued them into like a cone shape. I added other decorative paper like cut into shapes to kind of like just add some more visual interest to make the flowers look interesting. And yeah, I kind of like the way they came out. It creates this cool star pattern. It was just getting them to hold their shape, like the bell. That was a little hard. This is when I started like looking over at my hot glue gun, and I'm like, I have the hot glue gun over there. I want to make this a lot simpler than using the Mod Podge, but I like the Mod Podge a little bit better because 1, I am a child.
You look like an immature child.
And I like peeling the glue skin off of my fingers. I was making quite a mess with this. I love glue on the fingers and then rolling the skin off and just playing with it. Like, I never grew out of that. That's something I still love to this day. And then the hot glue. I do end up using the hot glue because there were more complicated flowers that needed the hot glue. It needed a quicker dry setting, and I couldn't apply as much pressure down on it. And like, oh look,
Squirrel!
This is where I'm planning out the next flower. I actually planned this one out because I was trying to figure out how in the world am I going to get this shape? How in the world am I going to get the shape that I need for this flower? So if you can't really tell by the shape, this is me trying to figure out how I'm going to make calla lilies. And so it's another flower. I've never made calla lilies before. I love calla lilies. I think they're really pretty, but I had never made them before. So I was trying to like figure it out as I go. And I know like you can see both sides of the flower are pretty prominent. So I needed to make sure there was no just like solid white. I wanted to have visual interest on the whole thing. So like I just glued 2 pieces of paper together to create like patterns on both sides. And I just cut out this leaf and I'm folding it and just kind of working it so that I could get it to hold the shape that I wanted, even though it's like a single leaf. And it was a little tricky. I'm not gonna lie. This was definitely like a tricky flower, but again, like it's just folding, bending, holding, folding, bending, holding, folding, bending, holding, and like attaching it to the stem and letting it dry completely and just making all the different parts of it. So like not like super complicated. It's just, I don't know why I keep saying it's not super complicated, because it absolutely could be. And I'm not thinking about everybody here. I'm only thinking about in like my own personal experience, as this wasn't super complicated. And I'm sorry, like I'm not separating myself from you, the viewer, enough to like, this is how I'm doing this. I don't know, maybe I can inspire you guys to try. Just like experiment and try and get your own ideas if you wanted to do this. It's fun. I enjoy it. I'm definitely going to make some more. Like I have ideas of possibly future flowers I can make. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, like more bouquets, different flowers. Do you have any suggestions? I don't know. I was thinking like maybe I could do like a potted plant. I don't know how I would work. Would I make the pot out of paper? Anyways, yeah, that's just being silly. So now the next flowers. After the calla lilies, we went on to the daffodils. And I've always loved daffodils. They're one of my favorite flowers. Ever since I was a little kid, I loved them. And like, I loved the daffodils in the Fantastic Flowers. They didn't really look like daffodils, but I think one of the plates had daffodil on it. That was one of the things that annoyed me about it, because I was just like, but it doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a daffodil. It didn't have the center part sticking out. It doesn't look like a teacup. And that annoyed me. I wanted it to look like an actual daffodil, and they said it was a daffodil, and it wasn't a daffodil. I don't know why I'm griping about a 90s toy that doesn't even exist anymore, but it definitely should. Like, I think that should absolutely come back. I would totally get it. Would you try it if like Fantastic Flowers came back, like the flower pressing make kit? Would you try it? I think I would. It would be a lot of fun. I would get it just because. Compare, like, can I do it better? Though I think this proves that I could. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but like, I just don't see people making paper flowers like this very often, and I really like them. I think they're pretty, and it makes me happy. Yeah. So this is where I decided I was gonna bust out the hot glue gun. Yeah, it was just going. And then the next flower. Oh my goodness, this next flower. It took me forever, and so I was like, maybe I could try a new camera angle, and I'm not super happy with it. But I tried something new. You'll have to let me know. Like, should I do more shots of me like crafting like this, where I was just literally sitting down, cutting out probably a few dozen blue flowers in all the different patterns and paper? Because, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen a hyacinth, but there's lots of flowers on a hyacinth, and that's kind of what I was going for. So for this one, I just literally crumpled up a piece of paper into a ball. I hot glued the ball shut so it wouldn't unfold, and glued it to the stem. And then I just sat there like hot gluing all these flowers on there. And because this is a complicated shape, this is why I really knew I needed to use the hot glue for this. There's just no getting around it. I wasn't going to be able to like sit there and hold the flowers on with the Mod Podge and get them to stay correctly as quickly as I needed to anyways, like I could with the hot glue. So yeah, that's what I did. I really like the way it came out. I do think it's pretty. It just took a long time because this was a lot of flowers. Gluing them all onto this little like crumpled up ball, I don't know. I think I did a pretty good job just filling it up, not leaving really any like weird empty spaces. I ended up running out of the two original colors as well. So then like I had to add in a third, and oh, look at that. It's looking quite full. And this is when I realized, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to put all the flowers in this for the stems that I cut. And so this is when I had to make an executive decision where I was looking at it like, which ones am I going to cut out? I got the green one with the split, or I have 4 of these dark green ones. And I decided I was going to go with the green one with the split.
I choose you!
The reason I went with it is because I wanted purple. I felt like that color was missing. I had all the other colors represented. Like there was enough leaves and stems that green was pretty prominently featured. All the other colors are featured really well, especially like with the hyacinth. There's a lot of blue in it now. I wanted purple. It was just the missing color. Then the rainbow would be complete. And so I kind of did the same thing I did with the hyacinth, where I just cut out tons of blue flowers. I cut out tons of purple flowers. And this wasn't even enough. Like I did end up needing to cut a whole bunch more. Like these are 2 big sheets of purple paper that I almost cut entirely into purple flowers, but I liked it. It was fun. So what I'm doing is just kind of like hot gluing them into the shape. So like when the flower is flat, I'm putting glue in the center where all the petals are, and then I'm squishing them up and then letting the glue dry, and it's creating a nice little base. And then the flowers look more like flowers when they're open. And I just start gluing them around the stem. It's not quite lavender. It's kind of like, to me, it kind of feels like a cross between lavender and like snapdragons, the way that the flowers look on it. And as you can see, like I ended up needing another sheet, but all part of the process. Sometimes you don't make enough. I at least had the supplies that I could make some more. I did double check, like on the purple paper, in case I needed to use 2 sheets, I wanted to make sure I still had 2 sheets because I did not have enough of the blue. And that was when I had to make an executive decision of like, I'm going to have to add in another color. Even though it's still blue, it looks a little different. It came together in the end. Like, this is, I think, so cute. It's full of life. It looks really pretty. And I can't wait to give this to my husband for our anniversary. It's so pretty. So now that this is done, I guess it's time for the final review. I may not have thought about like moving these when I made them, but here they are. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy with these. There's a lot of flowers in here I've never made before. And I put in some like to make the vase a little prettier, I just cut some paper and I put it in. But like, I've never made orchids before, and those are new. Some of them are like inspired by, so like, I think they're called amaranths and lilies. Like, it's just a mix between the two. Not really sure on these ones, daffodils. Like a take on some lavender, calla lilies, hyacinth. So like, there's just inspiration. They're not like perfect, but I wanted variety and color, and it's even got a rainbow. You got the reds, the oranges, the yellows, the greens, the blue, the purple, all the colors. They're all here. I'm so happy with this. Best part is, my husband loves it. He can't wait to take it to work and make everybody at work jealous. I don't think they have any partners making them flowers like these. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah, I love these. It's just been way too long. They're so much fun to make. A little time consuming, but like, just another creative outlet. Just another way to like express myself. All the different flowers. So yeah, fantastic flowers. I couldn't get the stupid machine as a kid. I made do. I learned to make my own paper flowers. And I don't think the machine could make any flowers like these. But what do you think? There's a flower I should try? You know what I could do is, I've never made a potted plant. I wonder if I can make a potted plant flower. Anyways, which is your favorite of these? I think the orchid's gonna be my favorite. Oh, I really do like the lavender. It's a little stabby, but it's kind of fun. But let me know what yours is, like, and if there's a flower you think I should make, like, I will totally write it down and maybe save it for the future. Who knows? Anyways, I need to go, spend some time with my husband, because it is our anniversary. And yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you all stay safe out there. Don't get lost. Don't get stolen. Have a wonderful day. Bye, you beautiful people.